They say, a commander is only as powerful as his fleet. But I once dismantled an entire rebellion without firing a single shot. Surprised? Then perhaps you underestimate the true nature of warfare. I am Thrawn, and I do not need brute force. Let me show you how strategy, properly wielded, can crush even the most determined enemy. Many of you have heard tales of the Dark Lords of the Sith, of their power, their cruelty, their ruthless domination. You marvel at their command of the Force, but I do not require such things. My name is Mittharaw Nuru Odo, though you may know me as Admiral Thrawn. What separates me from the Vader and Palpatine you fear is something far more dangerous: patience, intellect, and the ability to see what others overlook. My weapon is not a lightsaber, but knowledge. I study art, culture, history, the keys to understanding and defeating any foe. And that is why I am one of the Empire's greatest assets. You can prepare for blasters and warships, but can you prepare for a mind that sees every move you will make before you even think of it? The Rebel Alliance had thought themselves clever. They fought in the shadows, striking and disappearing, confident that the mighty Empire couldn't reach them. They had grown comfortable in their ability to evade Imperial fleets, to stay one step ahead of their hunters. But what they didn't count on was me. My rise within the Empire presented them with an entirely new challenge. I didn't simply hunt them, I understood them. Their tactics, their patterns, their leaders. They were no different from any culture I had studied before. And once I understood them, defeating them was merely a matter of time. You see, the Rebel Alliance made a fatal error. They believed their cause, their willpower, could overcome the Empire's sheer might, but might alone is never enough. I began to predict their movements, using every scrap of intelligence to corner them. No longer were they fighting just Star Destroyers and Stormtroopers. They were fighting me, my mind. Each of their victories became smaller and harder to achieve. Each of their triumphs felt hollow, for they sensed the tightening noose around their necks. I didn't come to the Empire by accident. The Chiss Ascendancy, my people, valued discipline and intellect above all else. In our society, there is no room for rash decisions or blind aggression. My training was rooted in this discipline, learning to see beyond the obvious, to anticipate not just an enemy's strengths, but their deepest vulnerabilities. This is why I study art. Many wonder why a military man would care for such things, but art reveals more than just the aesthetics of a culture. It tells the story of a people's values, their psyche, their weaknesses, and once you understand their culture, you understand how they fight. Every piece of art I study gives me insight into how my enemies think, what they fear, and how they will act. When I took command of the Empire's 7th Fleet, I applied this knowledge to warfare. I observed the rebels, studied their leaders, their famous General Syndulla, Captain Rex, and even their Jedi, Kanan Jarrus. I learned who they were and what they valued. I saw how they placed too much faith in their ideals, in their belief that they could outlast the Empire. I knew they could not. And once I had gathered enough, I began to strike, not recklessly, but with precision. Every move I made was designed to push them deeper into desperation. One battle stands as a perfect illustration of my methods: the Battle of Atollon. There, the rebels thought they were safe, hidden in their remote base on the planet Atollon. But I had already uncovered their hiding place. I could have launched a full-scale assault, wiped them out in a show of overwhelming force. That is not my way. Instead, I surrounded them, cutting off their escape routes with methodical precision. I trapped them, knowing full well that their situation would drive them to make mistakes. And as expected, they did. They tried to flee, but every move they made was anticipated. Every path they sought for escape, I had already blocked. I did not need to crush them with numbers. I let them realize, slowly, that they had no hope. The battle was over long before the first shots were fired. The rebel forces were in disarray, their defeat a certainty. Were it not for outside intervention, the alliance would have been broken that day. Still, the victory was mine in all but name. The next time they faced me, they knew. They could not afford another loss. They understood what they were up against, and it wasn't just the Empire, it was me. This is the legacy I leave behind. Not one of brute force or reckless ambition, but of precision, foresight, and understanding. My enemies fall because they are predictable, because they act on impulse or emotion. I exploit their weaknesses with patience and careful calculation. Some may see me as nothing more than a servant of the Empire, but I am far more than that. I am the one who understands the deeper game, the game of minds, where battles are won before the fleets even arrive. That is why I stand among the greatest tacticians and commanders in galactic history. And long after others have faded into obscurity, my name will still be whispered as a symbol of what it truly means to outthink and outlast your enemies. Now tell me, do you think brute force wins the day? Or do you understand the power of strategy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you wish to understand more about how the galaxy was shaped by minds like mine, watch the next video in this series. Knowledge, after all, is the greatest weapon of all.